for tuning in. Dr. Judy, Dr. Judy, WTF, What the Freud? And tonight's topic is choosing a narcissistic relationship. What's in it for us? And there's got to be something in it for us, or else we wouldn't choose it. And I know I talk a lot about the what the Freud, and we're repeating a cycle and so on. But there are some qualities about narcissists that are quite appealing. So let's take a look at that first. And as most of you know, I'm big on self-reflection and self-correction. So today is the day where we get to self-reflect and self-correct on why we're choosing these people, because after all, we are choosing them, whether it be unconsciously, most of all, or consciously, some of it. And so let's put it on the table. And this is a call-in show, everyone. So please feel free to call in 323-524-2599. So I'm trying to self-reflect for myself because I've certainly chosen a lot of narcissistic relationships. And so what was in it for me? Let me think about that. So let me see. First things first. I'm aesthetic. So one of the things about narcissists, especially overt ones, is they tend to look pretty good. After all, they're narcissists, so they want to look good. So they might dress better or take better care of their skin and their hair. They don't mind dropping the dime on good clothes and haircuts and manicures and pedicures. And I'm talking about both men and women. And so sometimes because they're so concerned with their outer shell, their outer appearance, they will look good. And so they're shiny objects. They also tend to make more money because if you look good, chances are that you're more hireable, and people will spend more money on your salary just because you appear to be better than. And of course, we know that this is a fake mask, but the fake mask does look good, and people are attracted to the benefits of the narcissist. And some of the benefits might include financial benefits, because narcissists also like to live well. So sometimes because they are so motivated to make money, and sometimes they fool people and also deceive people and rob people and bleed people of finances. Well, all that, some people cannot see, so that's all under the cover. But what's on the surface is beautiful car, beautiful jewelry, beautiful home, beautiful everything. So what's in it for us is the obvious, that we're benefiting. So if we're a people pleaser, if we're codependent, we want to latch on to these people because they make us look good by association. So I think it's time that we really start telling the truth about why we're there. And of course, there's the underlying issue, which I will get into next. But on the surface, it's very rewarding to be with somebody who thinks they're all that in a bag of chips, and then they choose you. So imagine how reinforcing that feels when somebody, such a high level individual, happens to choose you. And if your core beliefs are along the lines of I'm not pretty enough, I'm too fat, I'm too ugly, I'm not good enough, so on, how rewarding is it that they chose you of all people? So that's the front. That's what you see. Of course, what you might not see is they're choosing you for their narcissistic supply. They're choosing you, and maybe not only you, maybe they have a whole string of other people right behind you or right beside you, covertly married to another person or covertly having a relationship with another person. And there are all kinds of covert things going on here, but on the surface, it definitely is very esteeming to know that you're chosen by a chosen one. And so tonight, that's what I want to do. I want to help you reveal your own personal, maybe your own narcissistic reasons for choosing these people so that you don't end up suffering from the downside, because we know the downside. Looking good at the beginning, feeling good at the beginning, esteemed at the beginning. And what happens? Well, we know what happens. Pretty soon, when we don't fit the bill, when we don't jump when they say how high, when we don't fulfill on their needs, when we can't fill their hole in the soul because it's just too deep, then they will start their demeaning and their devaluing and discarding process, which is very sad because you go in with the expectation that this relationship is for keeps, especially if they've chosen you and you're so special in your own eyes because you think that you're so special in their eyes. So let's relate it to the cause, because I'm always about pinpointing it back to the cause and what kind of game we're playing with ourselves when we get embroiled in this system gone wrong, to somehow try to flip it so that it corrects itself, but it never does because we go down the rabbit hole with it. So this is a call-in show, everyone, and I would like you guys to call in and share with me and the audience, if you would like, how you went down the rabbit hole and how you idealized the narcissist and thought that there were a lot of goodies coming your way: dinners, jewelry, trips, cars, houses, beauty, esteem, being in the limelight, being associated with somebody great and powerful and wonderful and wealthy and good looking and all of that. So it's really time to examine our part in it, because if we're going to be charmed by this, then we have to know that we're going to pay a huge price, because the gravy train runs dry pretty quickly. So again, I love talking to you live. And if you have questions in the chat room, of course, don't hesitate to ask. However, I prefer that you call in so that we could talk about this and really self-reflect and self-correct, something that most narcissists have really a hard time with. They don't own their own stuff. They don't know how to look in the proverbial mirror and tag their fatal flaws and then correct on their flaws so that they could be more relationship oriented and more synergistic with other people. Because in essence, the definition of a narcissist from the point of view of the mind map is that instead of giving, they are taking. And they're great takers because they have a hole in their soul. So whatever they do take in seems to just flow through them and drop out the hole at the bottom, meaning that they have to keep filling and filling and filling, and it's never fulfilling. It's only filling, and it's endless. And if you're there to see if you can fulfill and fill them and gain brownie points for doing that, you're going to soon find out that it's a really bad game for you. And it's not even all that nourishing for them, because they really don't get that human satisfaction of an intimate connection, and they don't thrive on love and intimacy, because their game of life, as I have mentioned several times, is power and control. So this is a game of power and control. You might want love and intimacy with a little bit of the power and control that you're hopefully owning up to today. And but mainly you want some level of a connection with another human being. But because their connection has been destroyed so long ago, mainly at cause, they're not capable of it. So let me explain what I mean by that. And please put the mind map up so people can see what I mean by the cause. And if you look at panel number 1 of the mind map, you will see, if you can get, yeah, thank you. So you can see the wound. What do I mean by the wound? Well, the wounds are all the disconnects. So the light is the best part of you, the authentic, integrated wholeness of you. However, if you are disconnected because your mother's not connected to you, your father's not connected to you, because you've been deprived emotionally, or you have been abused or spoiled, or mainly emotionally neglected. If you come from a family that rewards your doing rather than your being, if you're serving your parents at the expense of developing your own wishes, wants, and needs, well, those are the wounds. And those are the wounds that separate you from yourself and block you from connecting to other people. And so, how is narcissism formed? There are many theories on it, including genetic ones. I tend to lean more on the nurture end of things. And so, the way I see it is, if there is a child born into a family that rewards for what you do and not who you are, and always crowns you the prince or the princess because you are marching to their tune, and they steal your own wishes, wants, and needs in favor of fulfilling on theirs, well, you will soon learn that in order to exist, you have to please, and you have to surrender yourself in favor of blowing them up and making them better and more emotionally satisfied off of your efforts and doings. So these are some of the ways that narcissism is formed. Usually narcissistic families deprive a child of the emotional nourishment, meaning, back to John Bowlby, father of attachment theory, what it takes to form a human psyche is eye contact, skin contact, a sense of empathy, attunement, a caring for the child, putting the child's needs before your own. Narcissistic parents, of course, don't know how to do this because they're more interested in their own needs. So if they want to go on a vacation and you're only 3 weeks old, too bad, they're going. They're going to leave you with whoever. And they don't have that empathy chip, so they can't feel the pain that they're causing you. They don't feel the disconnect because they're not connected. Okay, so you get it? They're not connected. And so you don't feel connected to them, but you want to be connected to them because they are your survival mechanism. And a child is desperate to have the love of the parent and to have a foundation. And I refer a lot to Alice Miller, who says that a child would rather keep their parents idealized and make themselves wrong so that they could feel that they're in a safe world. Because imagine if they discover that their parents are not safe or not caring or not loving, then they're living in a world of paranoia. They're living in a horrible world where they can't really look up to their caretakers. So they would rather turn the system around and think, you know, mommy doesn't love me, daddy doesn't love me. There must be something wrong with me. There's nothing wrong with them, which is the idealization of them. There's something wrong with me. And that starts to react inside a person's system and encode in the person's system in terms of negative core beliefs like, I'm not beautiful, I'm not special, I'm not lovable, I shouldn't have even been born. That's kind of like on the real radical side of the spectrum. So now I'm going to get into what's in it for you from a what the Freud perspective. Well, don't you want to undo this whole horrific nightmare that you have gotten embroiled in? Don't you want to get out of this narcissistic trap or prison? Don't you want to get out of what I refer to as the double of dungeon of darkness? So what do? So unconsciously, you pick somebody of the same psychological value or same energetic value psychologically, and then you start embroiling your life with this person, hoping that you can win their love, that through your doing and through your loving and your caring, that you will convert them into empathic, loving human beings and finally heal your wounds of childhood by having them deem you as special and worthy and lovable and all the stuff that you didn't get as a child. So this is an attempt to capture the golden chalice and heal the original wounds of childhood. And it doesn't work because, as I say in several of my episodes, especially one of them, the herder can't be the healer. So you can't pick somebody that hurts you, whether it be a similar person to your parents, to heal you, because they're also damaged and they're also not capable of being a growth partner and working on themselves and owning their own stuff and entering into conversations that are healing conversations that elevate both people. This synergy that I'm talking about, which is metaphorically demonstrated in panel number 7. If you look at panel number 7, this is what narcissists cannot do. They cannot merge with another human without being either suffocated and feeling like they're trapped in something, or vampiring something from you and needing to suck you dry so that they can exist. So panel 7 is a panel that represents relationship synergy, which is really not possible until people have foundationally gotten down their boundaries. They have gotten the inner nourishment that feeds the healthy human psyche, that is built on a desire for love and intimacy, that wants to be in a relationship that is nurturing and elevating with a growth partner. So this is not on the agenda of a narcissist. So if it's on your agenda and you're hooking up with a narcissist and you're attracted to a narcissist, it's a no-go. It's just not going to happen for you. So again, this is a call-in show, everyone. So please feel free to call in. I would love to speak with you and find out what the Freud is up in your life and why you're choosing these narcissists and what you can see in terms of self-reflection and maybe some self-correction within yourself. What drew you to them and what's in it for you, so that you can look at what's in it for you and ask yourself whether it's worth the price tag. Because oftentimes, most of the time, I will dare to say all of the time, it's not worth it. Because what happens is that at the end of the journey of that relationship, you will not only become stunted in growth, you will be drained of your very essence. So if you ever look at the spouse of somebody, the spouse of a narcissist, you will see a person who is a shell of what they used to be. Often when I see them in my room, they look literally drained. They're tired. They have somatic issues, backaches, pains in their stomach, autoimmune diseases. We now know how intricately the mind and the body are connected. And so this is no joke. When you attach yourself to somebody who's sick and vampiring your energy, expect to be vampired, expect to get sick. And so when you go into therapy with a narcissist, you probably won't make a lot of therapeutic progress unless you're with somebody really, really skilled, and that narcissist is able to, on some level, see that they are wounded from childhood and they are sick and tired of losing people around them because of their childhood wounds. And again, the people that I see in general are people who are the spouses or the lovers or the employees of narcissists or the friends of narcissists. Narcissists don't think that there's anything wrong with them. So oftentimes they'll come to therapy to prove that their significant other is sick and warped and has a warped sense of the view of the world and a warped sense of a view of them, because they need to be right. and they need to convince the therapist that their spouse or significant other is crazy because there's no way they're going to see themselves as responsible for any of it. One of the things that I notice when I do couples work is that people who are the most difficult cases are the people who really, really see the world through different glasses. So I refer this set of glasses as the cracked lens of perception. And so it's amazing how someone might describe an experience and the other might quickly deny it or describe it differently. They'll put a whole different twist on it. And it's real difficult to work with people who are not on the same page, and getting them on the same page is extremely challenging. So when I work with people, I often recommend that they work on their own childhood wounds before they do couples therapy, or at least in conjunction with couples therapy. And because narcissists have been deemed the incurables by centuries of psychoanalysts and psychotherapists and so on, we need new and clever ways of dealing with people who are so wounded that they have essentially created a wall around their heart. They have literally shut down their heart. So they have either an empathy chip missing, or because they've never developed it, they never had empathic parents to model it, or they have shut down their heart because maybe at one time they did have this empathy flowing through them, but then they got so hurt and so beaten up emotionally or physically or a combination of, that they felt that it was better to just live life as a human vampire, taking from others and not relating to human beings as human at all, but just as objects, which is where the term objectification comes in. And so I hope you're beginning to connect the dots as to why it's difficult to merge with a narcissist, and how there's no true synergy in those relationships, and why it's so frustrating. And the other frustrating part is that occasionally they will show signs of love, or signs of connection, or signs of caring. And these signs are often just little breadcrumbs to keep you strung along. And these breadcrumbs can keep somebody strung along for a really long time, because intermittent reinforcement, which is partial reinforcement, is the most powerful of all. So if they give you a little love, if they give you a rose here and there, if they tell you how wonderful and beautiful you are every now and then, and they future fake you into believing that this is for life, or some great things are going to happen for you in the future, they can string along a person for a very long time. So I want to hear from you. So please do call in. Love to have a conversation. And in the meantime, I want everybody to know that my video, Healing from Narcissistic Abuse, is out and it is ready for you to purchase. You can contact me directly at the Psychological Healing Center, Dr. Judy at psychologicalhealingcenter.com, and I'd be glad to discuss this with you. If you need a payment plan on it or what it's about, I'll send you a sample of the introduction so that you can get a feel for what's contained in the video and the journey that I take you on. And why get the video? Because not everybody wants to sit in a therapist's office and discuss their feelings. So some people want a do-it-yourself plan. And this is the mind map plan that delves into the childhood wounds and the encodings and how to decode all the damage and recode into health. And it's just a wonderful way to access all the knowledge and experience that I have, because I carefully put it together in this video so that you can learn from everything that I have been talking about in on a one-on-one basis, and now you don't have to pay me for all these sessions because I have it all contained on one video. So please feel free to reach out to me, Dr. Judy, that's DRJUDY, at psychologicalhealingcenter.com, and I'll discuss it with you. And there's my phone number. You can even reach me on my phone number, 310-739-4491, and we'll get some information to you so that you can avail yourself of this powerful and very to the point video that will take you from your wounds of childhood and how you were narcissistically abused and clear your psyche so that you could paradigm shift out of all the pain and the complex post-traumatic stress symptoms and really get yourself back connected to your authenticity after years of being tortured and vampired and so on. So I'm still hoping that somebody's going to call in because it's always better to have a conversation. Sometimes I feel like I'm lecturing, but that's okay. So I'll just keep putting the information out, and then if somebody wants to call in and access particular questions that they have on their mind, please
We do have
And
one question, Dr. Judy.
yeah, go ahead.
Tara in the chat room said, would you consider an enabler to have narcissistic fleas? Which I thought was a nice
Well, that's what I'm
metaphor.
talking. Thank you, Tara. That's what I'm saying is that we've got to self-reflect. What's in it for us? So if we're enabling the narcissist, maybe we're enabling them to continue to pay for all our goodies. Maybe we're enabling them to esteem us on a breadcrumb level. Maybe we're enabling them to um, uh, continue our fake life so that we don't have to destroy our families and our fortunes and so on. But it's really time to call it, okay, because this never goes well. And as I say in my video and always, wherever I am, systems that are built on BS, that are not sustainable, that are not built on authenticity and solidity are going to fall into chaos. So Tara, that's a great question. Yes, if you're an enabler, there's something in it for you, and you better find out why. You better find out what the price tag is, and you better find out quickly, sooner than later, especially before you start a family and get really embroiled in these relationships financially and spiritually and all of that. Find out what your secondary gain is, because the secondary gain is a bit of that narcissism in you. Okay. And I know that you can stand to hear it, because if you're not all that far along in the narcissistic scale, then you want to know about your narcissistic qualities, because they can get you in some deep trouble. And unless you bust your own system, then don't be surprised that if you're traveling down this rose-colored glasses road, thinking that there are all these benefits, only to find out that you've been duped, because that's what usually happens is people get along and go along and enable and so on, and then at the end, well, they find out that the person has siphoned off their money in their bank account, or they're having an affair, or they're married to another person and have a whole nother family going on, and it just goes on and on and on. So wouldn't you rather know now than travel down that horrible path and then find out later and have to really extricate yourself? And let's not forget, what does extrication mean in the case of marriage? Well, a divorce attorney, and they cost a lot of money, and they're going to want a big piece of the pie. So thank you. We have a call. Hello. What is the name that you would like me to call you by? Are you there? Hello? Is the person still on the
She's still
phone? Tell me.
on, and I think she's from Mexico. Can you hear us?
Oh, hola. Okay. Hi.
Hola.
Can you hear me?
You may have to call back in and give us.
Yeah, turn
Or
up your volume or turn down
Hello?
the
oh, there she is.
Oh,
Can you
great.
hear me?
Okay. Hi, how are you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thanks
Mm,
for calling in. Do you speak English?
um,
Hablar inglés?
I don't know if she's have. I think she. Well, we lost her. She might be having some connection issues. So.
Okay, hopefully she'll call back. Hopefully she speaks English, or else I'm going to have to translate my shows into Spanish.
Right.
My Spanish is not horrible, but it's pretty not okay. Grammatically, I would give myself like a D on
Oh.
grammar, but I comprehend quite a few words. Um, okay, anybody else want to call in? I'm here. I'm happy to analyze your situation and find out what your secondary gains are and why you hook up with a narcissist and why you put all this energy
just
into
got
it.
cut off.
Pardon me?
Eh, you think I got cut off?
Yeah, I
I,
think you got cut off, Dr. Duty. She is back from.
yay. Okay. And what is the name that you want me to call you by?
I'm Joe. Joe, yeah.
I didn't quite
Joe?
hear that, but I
Yo.
hope we'll be able to
Yeah.
understand. Okay, we'll be able to understand each other. And so what is going on
Why
in,
I wanted to talk about caretaking,
okay,
like caretaking addiction.
yes. Great topic. Maybe I'll do a whole show on caretaking addictions. Why do you feel that you're addicted to caretaking?
I think so. It happens. It's what
So,
happens on to me on narcissistic relationships
okay, are you in a narcissistic relationship?
with my family, I guess.
Okay,
Family.
and are you the caretaker of your family?
I'm the like a scapegoat, caretaker.
Okay, and why
Uh,
are you taking care of them? Why aren't they taking care of themselves? Is there a real reason? Is somebody very sick and
I
dying or
there is
disabled? Do they need it?
like like guilt for going no contact.
Oh, you're going no contact with them?
Yeah, but my sister has like a um
What about your sister? I'm not sure if I understand the situation, but let me speak to caretaking and being addicted to caretaking. So I'll put that for simplicity purposes in the category of people pleasing. And so if you have been brought up to please people, if you get big points, big brownie points, good girl, good boy, you please your mom, you please your dad, and this is the system of your family, then you will be on the track of caretaking others, and it'll be easy to enlist you in caretaking. What you have to be careful about, of course, is that you don't get drained and that you take care of yourself. In a narcissistic family, the taking care of yourself part is not very much encouraged. So no one will say to you, "Oh, thank you so much for taking care of me. I see how tired you are, and I see how you've been neglecting your own health." why don't you take a little break and go and take a good bath, or a walk, or what can I do for you? Even though I'm in a wheelchair, I could still listen to your problems, or do something nice for you. If it's a one-way street, that's a red flag. Okay, I don't care who you're caretaking, everybody has light in them, except narcissists have a low level of light, and you're the one feeding their light, but they're not getting lighter, they're just remaining in their darkness. And so a red flag to you would be somebody that's just taking and caretake me more and caretake me more and caretake me more, and then you're getting sicker and more tired and poorer, and they're either getting a little better because they're using your energy, or not getting much better at all, and you're just getting worse. Okay, so these are some red flags for you to pay attention to. And why would you be addicted to this? Because on the Freud level, you're hoping that all this care that you're giving them will result in some kind of a reward. Remember, I talked about, oh, you're so kind, you're so good, you're the best, okay? But these words are not going to really make you feel better, because you're still going to be tired, you're still going to be giving, you're still probably not getting paid for your services. But these little breadcrumbs of rewards are going to keep you giving and giving and giving. And the addiction part is that you want to get to a point where you're pleasing them, so that you could finally be out of the double dungeon of I'm not good enough or I'm not important enough, so that they're going to now reward you for being a great person. And why do you need the reward? What's in it for you is because of your childhood wounds, where you probably on a core level don't think you're a great person. So if you get involved in this system, then eventually you think that if you've done enough, you're going to get some kind of a Academy Award for it. But let's not wait for that one. I don't think it's coming to you. So I hope that answered your question. I'm sorry I couldn't hear you. Are you still on the line?
She lost connection, but she did put in the chat room. She says, "I can feel my inner child when thinking about how my sister is a narcissist and is developing hallucinations. I'm going to have to leave them here anyway."
Okay, and sometimes you just do have to go no contact with people. I talk about gray rock and all kinds of rocks, and then no contact, and um, sometimes it's just so dangerous and damaging to be part of the family that you've got to cut loose. And it's sad that some people have to conclude on that note, but sometimes you have to conclude on that note. I usually don't recommend it unless it's absolutely necessary, because usually people can get away with a gray rock situation where they just have minimal contact with their mother, father, sister, brother, or whoever, and just somehow maintain something with them. But I understand that if you can't, you can't. So the main thing is put your own mental health first, okay? All right, thank you for your question. I'm sorry we didn't have the conversation, but I hope I answered a lot of your questions anyway, and I hope I answered questions from the audience, and how seriously dangerous it is to hook up with a narcissist and bleed out because of a narcissist, and how important it is to really, really deep dive into your own childhood wounds so you can learn your vulnerabilities and foolproof yourself against choosing narcissistic relationships. And this is what my intention in the video is to help you take this deep dive into your psyche so that you can see what set you up to be with these people and why you're repeating these patterns, so that you could break free of them and foolproof yourself against signing up for more abuse and more gaslighting and more breadcrumbing and more drainage and physical, emotional, and spiritual vampiring. So again, if you don't want to go through therapy, if you feel that you're a do-it-yourself learner, I'm really happy with the video. I tried to do some takes on it and I aborted it because I just didn't think it was powerful enough and interesting enough. So I want to shout out to my director and producer. The company is Broken Dove Productions, and Danny and Joe, you did amazing helping put this video together, and just so glad that I chose you guys for my team, and I think you really creatively captured what I wanted to say to the audience. So again, if you want to avail yourself of the video, please contact me and we'll figure out a way so that you can do this. And of course, if you want to upgrade to help with a therapist, eventually I'm going to do a webinar that will include the video. And we always have the webinars going. Christiana Davidson did a webinar few weeks ago. It just ended this Sunday on healing from narcissistic abuse. So that is our mission statement, helping people heal and make sure that they don't get embroiled in their next narcissistic relationship, and that we become a better generation so that we don't keep handing down our psychopathology to the next generation. So any other calls, questions, comments, please?
No calls, just a lot of chatters. A lot of people were talking about how they have, many of them said that they had to go no contact.
Yes. If you have to choose them over if you have to choose them over yourself, you're in trouble. And if you choose yourself over them, they're going to hate you for it, but better they hate you for it than you get sicker and weaker and drained, because this drainage is on all levels. It's not just emotional. You will be drained financially. People often say to me, well, therapy's a lot of money and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we're trying to make it affordable by doing webinars, and the video is going to cut the cost. However, think about all the money that you spend by trying to heal with therapists who don't know about narcissism or don't really have a system going to heal narcissism. They might have a lot of information, but they don't really have a mind map or a pathway. Think about how much money you spend on chiropractors or massage therapists to get the stress out of your body, and how much money you spend on lawyers to extricate yourself from horrible relationships where you've been financially abused, and how much emotional energy you expend on obsessing about narcissists who have left you PTSD'd and so on. So can't put a price tag on it. I'm telling you, this is really an expensive deal to be recuperating from narcissism. So please get it right. Pick the right team, pick the right plan, and don't waste your money on traditional therapy, which I'm not a fan of, because traditional therapy, how I define it, is there's no plan. You come in and the therapist might say something like, let's get to know more about you. And, well, what are we doing here? Well, we're going to attend to your cognitions. We're going to help relax you. We're going to so on. But those are tools. Tools are different than a plan. We use tools also to get you through moments, but we've got to have a plan, and we've got to do that deep dive into your psyche, or else you're not going to dismantle it at the causal level, and it's just going to keep reverberating, recurring in your life. And that's exactly what I and my team don't want for you. We've got to stop the madness, okay? And it's got to stop now, because the consequences are just too steep. So if you're embroiled in a relationship with with a narcissist, please look at your secondary gains, figure out what's in it for you so that you can truly evaluate your own narcissistic need for more money, more beauty, more esteem, more um, affirmation of the wonderful person that you don't feel that you are by somebody that's just patting you on the back so that you can continue to serve him or her. It's a horrible deal. So let's get you out of this trap. Okay, let's get you out of the double dungeon of darkness, as I like to call it, and let me know what I can do for you. And by all means, reach out. So again, that video is called Healing from Narcissistic Abuse. And all of my wisdom, knowledge, and treatment is contained in this one video. So it's pretty deep and rich. So please know that we do give consultations. If you're not sure, you have questions, you can always get a consultation and we can figure out the right way for you to avail yourself of this plan. So with that said, if there aren't any more questions or aren't any more calls, I want to thank everyone who has tuned in tonight. Keep learning and keep becoming more and more aware. And most of all, look in your proverbial mirror and self-reflect and self-correct so that people don't take advantage of you. Thank you and good night, everyone.